I know we were expecting some new developments this weekend, but some of them have failed quality control. Make sure you indicate what you'd like redeveloped via the workstation.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to an episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 92 today for the French Grand Prix in Season 5. If you guys did miss the previous episode then, the Canadian Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But heading into then Paul Ricard, we've got one failure on the car, which was the minor rear downforce upgrade, so I'm thankful the at least major update on the DRS drag reduction kind of system has gone into play, so it should give us a bit more straight line speed, maybe with DRS activated during this race. But that upgrade means we're still just behind Renault on the performance chart there. You can see McLaren also bring an upgrade with Red Bull pretty much plateauing now for the last 4 episodes, I think that is, so they're going to want to move on, because last episode, if you missed that, it was a pretty big one for Red Bull, and Ricciardo specifically did not have such a great time, so they need to try and pick up the pace, or they kind of risk what happened in Season 5, which was pretty much starting off really strong, and then just going down and down and down as the season went on there. So we'll see how Red Bull kind of progress in this kind of second third, I guess, if you will, of the season. But we moved through into Q1, overcast conditions, and met with a lot of traffic, actually, surprisingly. First Romeo Grosjean then, and then later on also Dan Ricciardo in the Red Bull team. I didn't really remember Paul Ricard being this bad for traffic in Q1, really, honestly, in the last few seasons. I guess I just timed my runs really badly every single time, but thankfully we did make it through into Q2 without any further dramas. We used only one set of ultra soft tyres this entire time, actually, so in the end I ended up doing 3 flying laps on these ultras, so it's actually quite a bit of a miracle maybe I got through into Q2, because obviously the tyre wear is quite high on the ultras around Paul Ricard, so thankful. Looks like the car has some decent pace, but of course Vettel showed me up a little bit more in P3 there. But going to Q2 then, I have some good confidence, actually. The car itself is feeling really good around here. Went a little bit deep into turn 1 there, my first outing in Q2, a very weird apex. It's so blind when the sun hits it directly that you can't really even see where the apex begins and ends, and so you can easily either cut the corner or just go so wide there, so that was a bit tricky, and also lost some time with some understeer in Sector 3, so overall not the cleanest lap here on this, and so I was actually fearing the worst, that maybe this won't even be enough to get us in the top 10 straight away on this lap. Ideally we want to have that, because then we can use 2 sets of ultras in the top 10 shootout. So across the line, to my surprise, actually ended up being fastest provisional at the time, ahead of Van Dorn, Pierre Gasly, and in the end we're a P4 as I selected the set of super soft tyres. And so as I went out onto super softs, the slower compound tyre, we were still in P7, so I think my time is already good enough to maybe get into the top 10, but if I can go just a bit faster, not even that much faster, literally we're talking 1,000 faster on these slower super soft tyres, the second compound available this weekend, we're going to be in a prime position to exploit the strategy in the race, because then this opens us up to either an aggressive 2-stop towards the end of the Grand Prix by using ultras at the end with lower fuel, or it opens us up to a 1-stop super soft to soft tyres, depending on the scenario here. And so as we go across the line, we hardly improve our lap time, but we do improve it enough to qualify on the super soft. So even though we already set a time that was good enough to get into the top 10 on ultras, because I went faster on supers, that is the tyre I am locked to now for the race start. So I'm the only one in the top 10 shootout then that will be allowed to start on the super soft tyres. So absolutely amazing qualifying there for us in Q2. And so now I can relax. Going to Q3, it's all just about going as fast as we can on the 2 sets of ultras I now have saved up for the top 10 shootout. So literally, I think one of the best qualifying days I've had in terms of the strategy of trying to split the tyres working out correctly. In terms of speed, at the moment we're below Vettel on that first run, so speed-wise maybe not the ultimate best in terms of my grid slot, but in terms of strategy-wise, definitely the one that's worked out the best. I've tried it a few times before in the past where I've tried to qualify on the middle tyre, and a lot of times that hasn't worked out and it's backfired on me, and I've not even made it out of Q2. So we come through the end of our second flying lap in the top 10 shootout across the line, and we are going to beat Sebastian Vettel and get up into P4. You can see Alonso very quick indeed ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Pierre Gasly does a stunning job in the Toro Rosso, once again dragging that car up. I still believe that Gasly and Alonso's AI have got to be two of the best AIs on the grid pretty much, compared to relative to their teammate there, because he's up in P3 and Hartley was down the order in P9. But happy I beat Vettel at least, and I was a little bit disheartened because I thought before in Q1 and Q2 that me and Vettel both could have been maybe right up there in the kind of front row or the second row, but alas, myself is the only one on the second row. But from here, P4, super soft tyres, we can do a lot of great work. I have a very good feeling we can not only get on the podium, but we could go for another win here. Obviously, spoiler alert, by now you should have seen that we won the Canadian Grand Prix, so let's try and see if we make it 2 in a row. Let's go to the grids for the French Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and MONACO the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. Mastering a lap of Paul Ricard means getting to know 15 corners, 6 left and 9 right, for an overall lap distance of 3.6 miles. The two halves of the long Mistral Straight are separated by a heavy braking zone into a potential overtaking hotspot at the Chicane Nord. And watch out for the drivers running onto the distinctive coloured stripes, which are low in grip and highly abrasive. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Let's talk about the engineer. They've been involved in a number of costly incidents lately. That's got to affect their mindset going into this race.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Fernando Alonso has a good view of turn 1 from his pole position slot, with Nico Hülkenberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, the engineer, Carlos Sainz, and Verstappen, Van Dorn, Hartley, Ricciardo, and Charles Leclerc, Grosjean, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Ocon, Magnussen, Raikkonen, Marcus Ericsson, and Sergio Perez. Stroll and Sergei Sorokin rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
So before the race gets underway, real big shame there for Sebastian Vettel, hit with an engine penalty, so he's way down the order, so a bit of a write-off race for him perhaps, starting on the ultra-soft tyres. For us then, it's really up to us to fly the flag for Ferrari in a way. You can see we start on the super softs. Now, initially I was very much planning a one-stop super soft to soft tyres, but then as I looked through the strategy screen, the maths was telling me that the two-stop mathematically could be as fast, if not faster, than that one stop, because the soft tyres might be so slow compared to the super softs and the ultras. Obviously, in the past, in my own career mode, in my own kind of experience, the two-stop has been the faster way, because AI have beaten me on the two-stop when I've tried the one-stop, but at the same time, because our car is in a pretty good position, I feel, race pace-wise, the one-stop could work out, but either way, we'll have to start on the super softs, because we're locked in from Q2, so it gives me the nice comfort of, I can basically see how this goes. About lap 8 to 10 is the window for when I want to pit for a two-stop or a one-stop, so I can see how the race is going at that point, and I can decide if I'm going to, go one way or the other, basically. So, again, even if I can't be decisive on my strategy, the fact that I was able to qualify on the super soft tyre in Q2 just leaves me with more options than I would have had, unlike the rest of the top 10, basically. So, in a good position, feeling good about this, so let's go to the grid then and get this underway. We've never won 2 races in a row for the Scuderia Ferrari team. Can we change that today? Here we go to 5 red lights to the French Grand Prix, and we're underway at Paul Ricard. It's a good getaway for Nico Hülkenberg, and especially Pierre Gasly, who might just try and make it 3 wide into turn 1. Meanwhile, we defend against Carlos Sainz after a bit of a slow getaway. Hülkenberg, though, is the German round the outside, just about has to tuck in behind Alonso, though, but the run down to the hill, he might have a good go at it on the left-hand side there, as Alonso goes very defensive to the inside, so those two battle away for the race lead. Gasly just patient. Of course, Gasly is the home favourite here, the lead Frenchman in this Grand Prix, so I'm sure they'll be cheering him on, the crowd on the left-hand side in the stadium section here as we go fly through onto the main back straight overtake mode there on the ERS, and Rich Mix also trying to defend from Carlos Sainz. Still, that Renault very rapid in a straight line still from last season, and looks like with the upgrades it had this weekend, it is pretty damn good. It's, oh my god, sparks fly literally between Gasly and Alonso. I didn't even realise that actually Hülkenberg had completely done Alonso. Alonso was P2, he might now be P3, because Gasly really aggressive there on the outside of the flat out right-hander in qualifying there, and he's up the order, the Frenchman up into P2 of the French Grand Prix. And now Carlos Sainz dive bombs me down the inside, you can't see him there he comes, his front wing just comes into shot on the bottom right corner of your screen. He flies through there. We're going to do some defensive work though. We've got the inside line, bit of a shimmy and shake as we get on the curbing a little bit annoyingly. I'm going to defend P4 successfully, but a bit of pressure early on. But eventually on lap 4, I will settle down more into a rhythm, and it's actually more so kind of Alonso, maybe even backed up a little bit by Gasly, because you can see on the minimap Hülkenberg has streaked away in the race lead, and Gasly's being a bit of a bottleneck here and kind of helping me out, because I might be able to now close up on Fernando Alonso on the back straight with ERS in overtake mode. Rich Mix gets going and DRS opened. And remember, we've got that brand new DRS upgrade this weekend, the major DRS update that helps the effectiveness of the slipstream when we have the rear flap open. And you can see we've flown past Alonso, very aggressive on our braking there into the apex and cutting off Alonso and any chance of him diving me back there. And so we're up into P3 and we'll try and chase after Gasly. Is now Carlos Sainz. Looks like he's looking like he wants to try and maybe overtake Alonso there behind me. It looks like he does on the top left there. Look at that. Sainz's name has flicked up the order into P4. So Alonso lost 2 places then in pretty much half a lap, as now I try to do my best to overtake Gasly here on lap 5, the next one. But he just had a bit too much pace at the end in 8th gear, despite me having DRS anyway as well. He was just a bit too fast. And eventually, as we move through this Grand Prix then, Hülkenberg actually pit that lap. And then on the next lap, lap 6 onto lap 7, Gasly pits as well, and so we're up into first place all on our own now, and actually Sainz and Alonso will also come in at this stage, and so in the end it will be Romain Grosjean that is up into P2 on the super soft tyres. So it's me and him on the super softs pretty much, and it looks like most other people have ran the ultras. And so now is the stage where I just keep going and I look at the lap times, look at the position chart thing on my heads-up display, and pretty much suss out if I should do the 1-stop or the 2-stop. It's pretty much up in the air still at this stage, but one thing that might change my decision is on lap 10, this safety car gets called out. The lap that I was going to pit if I was going to do a 2-stop, and now I pretty much can't not pit here because I'm going to get a free pit stop basically, and we'll have a chance to jump potentially Gasly here in the race order. So we are going to pit under the safety car here, and so we're going to strap on a set of super soft tyres, and so we'll save the ultras right for the end. I don't actually have a set of fresh ultras, unfortunately, because I used all of them in qualifying, but I think the game should hopefully choose my least worn set of ultras, and that will still be better than the soft tyres if some of these guys go to softs, or it will still be better than super softs even if these guys end up on super softs at the end of this race. I believe all the top guys, you know, the 2 Renaults, Gasly and Alonso, they're all on super softs right now. So there's a good chance some of them might go to the soft compound tyre, the yellow wall tyre, if their tyre wear is that bad. I think the tyre wear for my car is pretty good, and so we should be able to comfortably go on to ultras at the end of this Grand Prix, especially on lower fuel. And so in the end, the safety car, I don't know, a bit of a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, I think also the 1-stop could have been an easier way to go. Maybe I think this definitely puts the pressure on me to actually make these overtakes now on track against Hülkenberg rather than just having track position. But you guys know me from previous, you know, just F1 career mode races. I'd much rather actually make the overtakes happen on track rather than the strategy. It's always more fun that way. So raring to go now on the restart, and the tyres are pretty warmed up because the safety car came out in a bit of an awkward position. So actually there was only like 1 and a bit laps of running basically for me under the safety car. So tyres all heated up. We just wait patiently for Hülkenberg to give the go ahead and basically put the throttle down on the right pedal. We brought the car settings up into rich mix and hot lap and just eagerly await, I think, through the last apex. Yeah, he's going to go right now. So a little bit awkward there from Hülkenberg because he kind of bolted halfway through the apex, but it's a pretty good exit for me and actually keep up with Hülkenberg somewhat and stay put with Carlos Sainz and no pressure immediately into turn 1 from the Spaniard there. So lap 12, plenty of this Grand Prix to go. And now let's just see the pace of this car versus the Renault. We couldn't really quite see it before because I was chasing after Alonso and Gasly. But like I said at the start, the Renault pretty good in a straight line, and so Carlos Sainz is going to pressurize a little bit. He actually fakes to the left and goes to the right down the inside of me on the flat out right-hander. Literally both of us are flat, so literally the only difference there is our cars and how good they handle that corner, and so the Renault just flies past me. I'm so surprised that Sainz got that so easily, and so it's a 1-2 for Renault, and I literally couldn't do anything there because you're flat. So I mean, what else are you meant to do? Push the throttle pedal even further into the ground to make the car go even faster. So yeah, I was a bit baffled at how he just went past so quickly. So I'm hoping now that our more aggressive 2-stop onto ultra soft tyres later on this Grand Prix is going to come back and pay us dividends, because at the moment I don't have much of an answer to Carlos Sainz. Even with DRS here on lap 15, I'm trying my hardest to catch up to him, but he's got DRS of his teammate there, so both of them are helping each other out. You know, they're not waltzing away like the first stint. I'm keeping both of them really honest, but I just don't have enough oomph at the very end of the straight to make the dive bomb on Sainz there to get back up into P2. So pretty much all I can do is just keep the pressure on them, and so Hülkenberg does come in eventually for his second and final stop of the afternoon, a little bit earlier than I thought he would do, and that's because he actually comes out on soft tyres. So I think maybe both both Renaults potentially are feeling more tyre wear than I am in this Grand Prix, and so that might be the biggest thing in this race now, because they're on softs. We're going to go to ultras at the end, so we'll be on 2 sets faster compounded tyres at the end of this Grand Prix on lower fuel. So if I can't overtake them now, I will have an opportunity hopefully to overtake them later in the race. Carlos Sainz eventually making his pit stop then on literally the next lap or 2 onto soft tyres as well. So both Renaults feeling the need to go to the hardest compounded tyre available at this race weekend to make it to end this Grand Prix, whereas Pierre Gasly there, the Frenchman, behind on super softs, and by the time Alonso comes in not too far after that, he's also onto a set of super softs. So both Alonso and Gasly now might try and fight Renault, and so whilst we're still out there, hopefully these guys fight enough that they lose time, but actually we might not even need that, because look at that, Fernando Alonso there stayed out for 2 laps tops, I think, on the overcut, and has got past not only Gasly, but also both Renaults of Sainz and Hülkenberg there. So an amazing amount of pace there from Alonso. He did actually set a fast lap of the Grand Prix just before he came in for that pit stop, so clearly he was pushing very hard. So that might be very good news for me later on this race. But now we've got Hülkenberg fighting Carlos Sainz with DRS open on the outside, but he locks up badly, and so Sainz will maintain the position against his German teammate there. Gasly in the back are getting very close on super softs here, and so these super softs surely will be the difference here today, the very end of this Grand Prix. Here goes Gasly now for the move down the inside of Hülkenberg, and he's going to make 1 pass on that Renault and might also try and get Sainz in this next sector as well. The grip level is just so good in the super softs compared to the soft tyres here, and that is why I wanted to try the more aggressive strategy. And so as we move on later, 1 lap later, and Gasly down the inside then of Carlos Sainz very easily with DRS, and so Gasly moves up into P3 of this Grand Prix. Alonso P2, both on super softs. I'm on super softs at the moment on lap 20, and I will be going on to ultra soft tyres for the end of this Grand Prix. So unfortunately though, on the minimap you can see there's the red dot parked up on the left hand side. That's Sebastian Vettel. We haven't seen him at all in this Grand Prix. He was having a pretty horrid time anyway, but unfortunately he retires from this Grand Prix. So big kick in the teeth for Seb Vettel there. You know, he already had a grid penalty and his race ruined that way, and then in the end he DNF. So I'm literally the only one flying the flag literally in this Grand Prix now for Scuderia Ferrari. And so we move on to lap 21. We say box in this lap. I'm going to go into a set of ultra soft tyres. Be monitoring the position counter on the right hand side on the heads up display, and technically it says I should be coming in and coming out in first place. Apparently, according to the indicator there, it's sometimes a little bit wrong, but I think this will be either way very close to Alonso, and we should jump both Renaults here. So the overcut working in treat, and just the pace difference on warm super soft being so much better still than fresher soft tyres here. So, you know, kind of the theory sticks from what I said right before, that sometimes AI in the past have beaten me fair and square on the 2-stop, and so sometimes it really is the fastest strategy on this game in tracks like Paul Ricard. And so here we come out the pit lane, and Alonso is passed into first place. But look at that, we're very close in second place on ultras. Gasly a little bit further back. So now it is literally now me versus Alonso for 1 and 2. Gasly I don't think will play a part in this fight. He's done his job today. He's going to get a podium either way for his home Grand Prix ahead of both Renault works cars. It's now just a fight between me and Fernando Alonso for the top 2 spots here. And so to that effect, after our pit stop, we've been chasing after Fernando, and on lap 24 here we might have a bit of deja vu, because it might be a very similar pass on Alonso now. Twice we've done this round the outside with DRS, very aggressive to the apex, and there's literally almost a carbon copy overtake of the one I made previously there, and we're up into first place of the French Grand Prix, but it's not over there. Look how fast Alonso's closing up. This time he's got his engine turned up this time, unlike stint 1, and he might come back to this now on towards lap 25 now. 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Alonso with the DRS here, and great exit off the last corner. Will he make a move? I go defensive to the inside there. We're going to squeeze him a little bit, but Alonso locks up badly. A mistake there by the 2-time world champion. A lock up there, and nearly goes completely off circuit, but he holds it through, and he's going to have some mega alien-like pace like we've seen him previously in Seasons 3 and Season 4, because he's going to close right back up to us on the last lap of the Grand Prix here. So literally we've got half a lap left. That separates myself and a victory at the French Grand Prix. But will Alonso come and spoil the party? We go defensive. He's got DRS here, so he's on the outside, the right-hand side of the circuit there. We're going to go very defensive, try and squeeze him into the corner, but it doesn't work. He's got the place. We cut back on him and try and switch onto the right-hand side, but he's got the move done. Alonso leads the Grand Prix now, but we're going to catch the slipstream, catch the toe, come back at him now on the outside, flat out here, no lifting off there, and now it's all about who takes this next right-hander better. Alonso down the inside, but he goes goes too deep, and we do an amazing switch back now to get back up into first place, but he's still there. He still has the elbows out on the front right tyre. We lock up a little bit, and you've got the closest bit of fighting there, and by the tiniest of margins, I stay ahead of Alonso. I think literally a piece of paper could have separated us there on that left-hander. The off-camber one already awkward enough, taking it by one car, side by side, even worse, but we've made it work, and we finish off what is probably going to be one of the best fights I've had on the F1 games here to date to take the victory at the French Grand Prix here. And so you guys know what I'm about to say. It's 2 wins in a row. Grazie ragazzi, forza Ferrari.
Fantastic. You won the Grand Prix.
A great win then for the Maranello team today. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
Absolutely stunning fight here at Paul Ricard with Fernando Alonso, my old nemesis, rival, teammate from Season 3. We had some amazing battles in Season 3 in the same car of McLaren, but I think that one topped it there. That was such an intense fight, such clean racing as well. You know, the tiniest of taps here and there, but so close together for that entire, pretty much half a lap there through the kind of end of Sector 2 into the entirety of Sector 3. Such fine margins, and across the line, Alonso also gained on me through the last corner, so we actually finished under a tenth of a second ahead of him across the line for first place. So absolutely amazing, and so that will have us extend the lead in the Drivers' Championship, of course, there to Fernando Alonso in second place, who moves up now ahead of Ricciardo. So could this turn into another aarava v Alonso fight this season? Maybe we'll have to see. But Red Bull again with a disappointing race after starting off so strong. Will it be another Season 4 repeat for Red Bull? Start off strong and flop and just disintegrate at the very middle stage and the end of the season. Hulkenberg in P4 there. Gasly moves up into P5. He's been doing an absolutely amazing job for Toro Rosso there. Absolutely crazy job to be in the top 5 in that Toro Rosso car. Constructors wise, we're in the lead still ahead of Red Bull, but Red Bull, to be fair, are keeping us honest, because Vettel has yet to score too many points compared to me, and so I'm a little bit feeling the pressure, and a bit of the my shoulders are aching in a way for Ferrari this season, because last season Raikkonen was scoring a bit more than Vettel has so far. But the thing is, Vettel, unlike Raikkonen, I think Vettel definitely has sparked a little bit of fire under me to maybe drive a little bit better and get those results, because we've got way more wins this season than we did this time last season. I think this time last season I just got my second win maybe of the season. This time now this is my 4th win of the year. So I think that switch that Arriva Bene and Maranello wanted to make to maybe light the fire a little bit and make sure we try and get the Drivers' Championship this season, I think that's worked out, because Vettel being on the other side of the garage definitely has fired me up a little bit more than Raikkonen ever really did. But a really great day, 2 wins in a row there. Canada and France, absolutely amazing. The complete right way we wanted to kick off the European portion of the season, unlike what was going on at the Spanish Grand Prix. So let's go to the interviews then and round out the episode.
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy. It doesn't get much better than a win at this track, does it?
Got to go with a typical Lewis Hamilton-esque kind of answer here. This place has the best fans. Every place has the best fans we go to there. That's actually been a rep increase for Ferrari, thankfully for me.
Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
Going to really compliment the car here and say it was like a ballet dancer, kind of flicked through there, especially right at the end. It was so nimble and light versus Alonso.
Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race.
A good strategy, of course. The safety car coming out, we reacted to that correctly, and the ultra softs at the end were an inspired choice to get ahead of Alonso then.
We all underestimated you, didn't we?
And I'm going to be very cocky here and say, yes, you did underestimate me, but everyone makes one mistake in this world, so there you go.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So there we have it, a very successful French Grand Prix there. In the end, I will get a rep increase for Ferrari, although it still really isn't that much now. I've had 2 wins in a row now. We get the team bonus as well of 500 R&D points, and yet my bar is only about 2/10 filled. So I'm still on thin ice technically. At any moment, I could still get fired if they just don't like my driving at one point. Like, I'm in that zone, I feel like, of the reputation where if I have one more horrendous race like Spain, I feel like I could genuinely get fired, because I feel like if the reputation bar is low enough, that cutscene will literally get triggered. So I'm still not comfortable. Like I said, I think we're gonna have to try and aim for winning the next 3 races if we really want to get that reputation bar right back up there in a comfortable spot. But at least the rest of the grid loves me at this stage, so I have a very happy future ahead of me if I do indeed leave the team at some point at the end of this season, at least, minimum. So we're going to move on, though. We do contract negotiations with the team. I can vie for a little bit of a better contract. It still wasn't amazing, but it was better than my last contract with the team. Of course, the last time I negotiated was the Baku Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and the reputation wasn't as high as it could have been then, so a better negotiation this time around. And now for the R&D, we're going to go ahead and fix that rear minor downforce that we failed at the beginning of this episode, so that will come in next episode for the Austrian Grand Prix. And then we're going to go ahead and purchase the major DRS upgrade, another DRS upgrade. That's going to come in for the 2 episodes time at the British Grand Prix, so that'll be really good for us, and that will see us move up the order quite significantly in the aerodynamics. Pretty much the only one weakness of our car has been the aero department. We're good on engine, we're good on chassis, so this is the last kind of bit of the puzzle, really. So guys, that's going to be the end of the episode. So that's 2 wins in a row and our 4th win of the season, guys. Be sure to smash that like button. It has been such a topsy-turvy dramatic season so far, but when you win for Ferrari, it feels that much better. So be sure to hit that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you're around, do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.